Well, one of the questions in every age is how does one generation relate to another? And as part of our Generation to Generation initiative here at Huntley Street, I'm sitting down with a number of young people over different periods of time to have conversations. I think one of the most important things you can do is actually just sit down and dialogue. So today I'm with Ryan Harmon. He's the youth pastor at Lakemount Church and here in Ontario. We're so glad to have you, Ryan.
Yeah, no,
Welcome.
It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming. Here's a question for you.
All right.
What's one thing you worry about most right now?
Oh, man. Not really a worrier by nature, so I've got a lot of first world
I forgot to ask you, how
problems.
old are you?
I'm 25 years old.
25.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a 25-year-old who doesn't worry much.
Yeah.
Is anything keeping you up at night?
Yeah, there's some things. I think I worry most about, with everything going on in the world, the kind of world I'm going to leave for my kids. I don't have kids yet, but I've heard parents talk about that in the past, and I usually try to think, I can handle this on my own for right now. Mm-hmm. But I worry a lot about what it's going to look like, 20, 30, 40 years from now, kind of world I leave.
That's a good question. That's a really good question. What kind of world are we going to leave for our kids? Even before you have kids to ask it, I think is awesome.
No, totally.
All right, your turn. Got a question for me?
Yeah, so like you said, I'm a youth pastor, so I'm early into ministry, so almost 2 years now, and I'm kind of talking with a veteran, someone who's been there before. So I kind of had a few questions about that.
Go ahead.
The first being really, what are some things that you can look back on at the beginning of your ministry and think, man, I wish I didn't focus so much on that. Or maybe even I wish I focused more on that.
Yeah. I wish I had taken the personal journey more seriously sooner. I sent people to counseling. I didn't go to counseling. I was that kind of a guy. And then my wife finally said, no, you need to go to counseling. And she was totally right. She was completely right. And I wish I had gone sooner and paid. I thought it was all about leadership and like head knowledge. And what you realize is God creates whole people and the whole thing gets sinful. And, there wasn't, smoking gun or terrible scandal or anything. It was just, God wanted to change me, who I was, my heart, make me a better husband, a better father, a better leader, a better friend, a work in progress. And I wish I had gone earlier. I really had. And then probably the other thing I would say is trust your gut. Trust your gut. Like your gut is pretty reliable.
Yeah, don't second guess yourself.
Right.
I'm victim.
What's one thing you wish someone from an older generation knew about you and your generation?
I think I wish that they knew that we're paying better attention than maybe they think we are.
Okay.
Like technology, it kind of looks like we're up in the clouds a lot of the time, but I wish they knew that we're paying more attention than what it looks like on the outside.
Yeah.
And I think even bigger than that, that if they wanted to get our attention, what my generation wants is like a cause, something to go after, something where we can see the ending goal and just, work towards that.
It's been a pretty common theme in these conversations, actually, as a cause. What does that look like for you?
A cause for me, I mean, you really don't have to go that far these days. We live in a really diverse part of the world where there's, really wealthy people, about 5 minutes from people who have barely anything. And I think maybe different initiatives that go into the inner city, or maybe that could take people from where they're comfortable, push them into a place where they can see, hey, I can help. I've got what it takes. I can do it. So I just got back from taking my team on a missions trip to South Central LA.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Seriously?
Huge cultural shock from Niagara, Canada, right? So, and it was cool to see their eyes be open to, I'm doing better than I think I am, and I also have a lot more to give than I think I do.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, your turn.
So by nature, I might be a bit of a procrastinator.
Okay.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
But, being in the ministry as long as you have and being a family man, how do you organize your priorities? Like, how early on and even now have you maintained a healthy relationship at work, leading your church, and then still at home with your family and your wife?
It's a constant challenge, and I've gotten better at it over time, but when you start out in leadership, you're not leading very much, and so it's pretty easy to organize. But then usually the opportunities exceed the time available to fulfill them, and that's where I got into trouble. And so I've learned an awful lot. One of the best friends I have, we could talk for half an hour about it, and I'm actually finishing a course right now on time management, but Best friend has been a fixed calendar. So normally, you know, if I say, hey, look at next month, what do you do in the third week of the month? You'd be like, nothing. You know, maybe you got one thing on.
No, totally.
Pre-fill that. Set down, you know, if you've got a message to write it down and say, I'm going to spend Monday on message preparation, or I'm going to spend, you know, the first few hours of my day doing this. And then I find I do about half of my time, if I'm doing it well, half of my time is open, which means it's an appointment with myself.
Yeah.
So that's when I'm writing sermons, writing series, writing a book, writing a blog.
Oh, okay.
And then I've only got 2 days a week available for meetings. So all my meetings have to fit in there. And
That's a
if they
great
don't
idea.
fit, not going to do it. And learning how to say no nicely. So that's really, really helped me. And then sometimes, like tonight, you know, there's been an appointment in my calendar for a while. It says family. I'm having dinner with my family in Toronto. Friday night, dinner with my family in Toronto. Sometimes it'll just be like hold for family time. So my assistant can't book that time because on Saturday, I'm going to be with my family. And if you pre-decide it, it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
All right. We got about a minute left, but let me ask you, your biggest question about God right now, and who are you asking about it?
You know, there's so much going on that just floods into your life through social media, through conversation, wherever you go. And it's usually a lot about the darker, the bad things that are happening. And I catch myself thinking a lot, like, where is God in the midst of all of these crises, you know? And I think a lot of people have asked that over the years, but I've just been wondering to myself, like God, how do I, as a pastor, as someone who believes in the gospel and the good news of Christ, how do I take that to places that seemingly are, you know, opposite on the spectrum when it comes to believing in Christ?
Yeah.
You know, like, where is God, and how do I practically take what I know and bring it there? You know, and who am I asking?
Who are you asking?
Guys like you.
Okay.
You know, I'm really thankful that there's guys like you who have come out with great strategies and great ways on how we can help the world around us and how we can get plugged into places that need to know the gospel message.
What fascinates me on my blog, my podcast, and my social media is the number one demographic that is listening or watching right now are people your age.
Really?
Yeah, young leaders,
No, I believe
25 to
it.
34. And I wasn't that open to generational coaching when I was your age. So I think it's a fun time we live in, for
it's
sure.
awesome.
Ryan, this has been a great conversation. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's been awesome.
Thanks for what you're doing with your life. We so appreciate you.